So please welcome Pierre-François Lelouet, President of the French Federation of Women's Ready-to-Wear, Fédération française du prêt-à-porter féminin, et Bernard Leonetti, who is President of the Major Group. So, as we are already late, apparently, can you quickly introduce both your activities for the Federation and for the Major Group?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, we are a family company. We make women's wear, create, making, and of course distributing throughout 52 shops in France and 22 corners. Then we are located near Lyon in France, and then that's all.
And my name is Pierre-François Lelouet, and I'm the president of the Fédération française du prêt-à-porter féminin, the Women's Wear Association in France. I'm also the president of Nelly Rodi, which is a trend forecasting company, and my first trip in China was in 2002, I think.
Okay. Bernard, I think 7 years ago you have a first experience in China. Can you speak about it?
Well, it was really a very small first experience because we tried to introduce the Chinese market throughout 2 shops in Shanghai, and of course it was really tough to make sales. Of course, the lines, the prices, the duties, and so on. It was impossible to introduce our brand in China. That's why we'll have to talk about that. Of course, we are really interested with the project of the French boutique. Then we hope it will be a successful and second experience.
Yes, because I think, as me, you remember 10 years ago, top decider in French fashion was pretty sure nobody will ever buy clothes on internet because you can touch, because you can try. 10 years later, everybody is selling on internet. Now you are telling to these brands to arrive in China with different regulation, taxes, logistic, and as it is not challenging enough, you have to do with the evolution of behavior. So, Pierre-François, how can a French brand arrive in China today?
There are several ways and several paths. I think the presentation was extremely interesting just before, and And the market has been evolving so quickly in China that maybe there's this most recent thing, which is the whole e-commerce and the social commerce. So we have been working in China at the Federation for ages now because we represent all the women's wear brands in France, as you know, which means really hundreds of companies. And we have a very strong also activities worldwide because we sponsor hundreds of French brands in shows. And there's a big show in China, which is Chic, and we organize the French Pavilion at Chic, which is really maybe #1 in the world for garment.
Yes, it is.
At least for the big annual session. Now there are 2 sessions, but the big one is really very, very big. So we have a French Pavilion, and we bring all those brands, and as we do everywhere in the world. And at the beginning, we really wanted to focus on this kind of promotion for the French brands because we were maybe thinking that there was concept stores and multi-brand stores as there are in many other countries in the world. So we experimented this kind of distribution, and we realized that it is not as easy as in other countries in the world because the kind of distribution is completely different in China. And the kind of relationship you have with your distributors is very different also from other countries in the world. So we still have this pavilion. We have the whole team, part of the team of the Federation, which will go to the next Chic, and we have dozens of French brands. And we also invite even other brands from other European countries to our French pavilion because they feel very good there, and those brands are very happy, but it's not enough. It's not enough because there are not so many multi-brand and concept stores in China who are able to buy the kind of products. And we know also at the same time, because we export a lot in China, because China is really among one of the biggest exporters for fashion brands, that there is a big appeal for fashion brands in China. So that's the reason why, with Patricia Brafman, the international manager of the Fédération, with the former president of the Fédération, Daniel Vertel, and Yves Cazil, who owns also a brand in Lyon, we decided to launch our French boutique and to do a partnership with Tmall and to propose to 20 French women's wear brands to exhibit their products in a French boutique completely organized by the Fédération du Prêt-à-Porter.
By the way, at 2:20 this afternoon, you have Sébastien Badeau, who is Managing Director France of Alibaba Group, will be here to speak about this.
Exactly. So we did this partnership with Alibaba. I think it's the first time that there is such a big project for French and gathering with a collective point of view, 20 French brands. You can't imagine the interest we have from other industries, because we just spoke about and announced the launching of this Tmall platform end of March or April, beginning of April. But there are already dozens of other federations who contacted us to have their products exhibited also on the French boutique.
Because you have a big advantage, you have an office in China.
Yes, exactly. So as you know, as I explained, we have a long-time relationship with the Chinese market and the Chinese associations, and on a personal point of view and with my own company, we realized since my first trip in China that it was extremely important for us to have very deep lies and links with the associations and the government. So we are very lucky because we have many friends in China who really like France and really like the job we've been doing to promote the exchanges between China and France in both of our countries for years now. And in order to, because China is already a big market for the apparel industry, we decided to launch and to open an office last May in Hangzhou. Because Hangzhou is really one of, as you know, it's the city where Alibaba is. But it's also a very big city for fashion in China, with a lot of producers, with big brands, also Chinese brands there. So it was, and it's not so far from Shanghai, and for us, Shanghai is a little bit too big, and our too many people are interested in Shanghai, so we wanted to be interested in another country, not very far from Shanghai, and Hangzhou is very close. So it's really one of the big cities for fashion. So since last May, we have 2 people working for the Fédération. All this was really supported organized with the support of a great financial organization in France for fashion, which is called DEFI, and it's very important to say that DEFI has really sponsored the establishment of our Fédération's office in China.
Mm-hmm. Bernard, there is an office, so it's close to Shanghai here, but it's far from Lyon, because basically you are coming from a small French village.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are located in a small village with 500 people. Then, of course, for me, it's really a real motivation to imagine that we are able to deliver directly from a small village in France, directly to somewhere in China. Then, of course, that project is really interesting. The second point, of course, is we want to see if there is some consumer for our brand, and before trying to find some distributor and some partnership. It's the best way to introduce a market. If you have some customer for our brands, of course, we will find some partner, maybe to have some to open some to open our shops in China. Then that's why the project of the French boutique is really interesting. One thing is the first time I went to the French Federation, we were just 4 or 5 interested in that project. Now we are around 20. Then I hope it will be the first step, and then after to have more brands, of course, because the French boutique has to be wider. The offer has to be wider. And that's why it's important to ask for our colleagues to come and promote that business, you know.
And in your opinion, how do you conciliate French identity, French DNA with a Chinese strategy? Because as you can hear all along these talks, you can arrive in China with your very own strategy. You have to adapt. So how do you adapt without losing your identity?
So the first thing is that since we have very close relationship with the Chinese market for years now through the Chic, we know exactly what kind of brands can work in China and what kind of products can work in China. So we try to build an offer in the French boutique with these core 20 brands, which is consistent with what the Chinese market would expect, or what we feel they would expect. So we have a good combination of brands. It's a combinations, but it's a consistent combinations. We have also small brands, and we have bigger brands like IKKS, which is really big in France, and their children's division is already implemented in China, but not the women's wear. We have Ben Simon also, which is one of another big footwear and ready-to-wear brands. So we really wanted to have those kinds of 100 million euro and over brands, as well as smaller, to have to give more salt and pepper somewhere, you know, and a kind of French identity to this boutique.
Bernard?
Well, for us, of course, we will start with a, let's say, French collection, but of course we'll have to adapt maybe after, let's say, one season, to focus on the best garments, and maybe to change the sizes of our products. We make all the production in France and Tunisia, but we have also some partnership in China. And I hope if the business is growing in China, that we'll be able to make directly the production in China to deliver throughout Tmall site.
Mm-hmm. For a long time, Chinese consumer was specifically targeting big brands, and now it's changing. Now the new generation is looking for more unique products, even if with very unknown brands. Do you think it's an advantage for you now?
Yes, I think so, and we made a research last year about that. We really traveled in China. We visited many new stores targeting the new generations, the youngest generations, and we really identified the kind of brands that could really fit in the market. So that's very important to see, as that the habits are changing a lot, that there's all this kind of middle luxury which is still growing very fast in China, and somehow faster than high luxury, and that's part also of the interest that Mrs. pointed out in the previous presentation. So we're really targeting brands which were not luxury brands. It's not our topic. It's not basic brands also, or low end. It's really great French spirit, and sometimes produced in France, made in France, also brands. So it's very important for us that you fit with those young generation expectations that we identified through research we did last year with the Federation in China.
Mm-hmm. Bernard, you spoke about to open shops, physical shops, after these experiments.
We hope.
Yeah, because Calvin before was speaking about there is a very different scale in China, because here you can have 100 of a French boutique. There you are starting with 1,000. So how would you plan to develop your company this way?
Well, you know, first of all, I think, of course, we have to make it step by step. The first thing is to see if there is the response of the market. if the consumers, the Chinese consumer, accept and want to buy our collection. Then after, of course, we have to find some partnership to develop the shops, because we have a really original and not standard concept, in France. And I think, as we said, that it's important to remain original and not to be as the others, as the big brands. That's why, of course, we hope after this maybe 1 year experience to try to find some partnership in China to develop the shop, but in the way we make in France, it's important.
Okay. Pierre-François, do you think every brand, every fashion brand of France can succeed in China, or there is only a specific target one to succeed?
I don't think so. I think we really have to focus on some brands. We also know that the Chinese market is not consistent itself, that there are many small markets for fashion, and you don't buy the same items in North China than what you buy in South China, and the seasons are different, and the fabrics are different, the sizes are different, so the colors are different also. So it's really different, but it's also extremely interesting to us because it's a wide range of possibilities, and since our organization represents a wide range of fashion brands. We think that many of them can really succeed in China. Many of them already succeed in China, have found ways to implement different partnerships and open stores, and have a great distribution through department stores also in China. It's not the case of all the brands, for sure, but we really believe in the potential of this market. It's since 2007, it's really the market which has the biggest growth for exports in women's wear among all the markets. So it's over 10% every year. So it's really great, even though we know that last year was not as good as the other ones, for sure. But when you have the medium range of growth is really over 10% since 10 years. So it's really great to see that China is building.
Last year it was 272 million euros export to China and Hong Kong.
For women's wear only.
For women's wear, yeah. And you spoke earlier about those other federations who are now does want to join this initiative.
Yes.
So what is for you the next step after this?
It's a French boutique, so it's not only a women's wear boutique. So it's important for us to gather the kind of French lifestyle around the fashion brand, and women's wear is really the core market of fashion. But now a fashion brand, they do menswear, they do children's wear, they do footwear, they do whatever. Sometimes they do glasses and hotels and whatever. So we are very lucky because we have so many strong fashion brands in France that we believe that the consumption of fashion is really growing into lifestyle. And the French boutique has the possibility to develop into lifestyle too. So next week, to be very clear, we have a great meeting with 5 other federations who are interested into this project and want to join the team. So I'm very glad to see that.
Mm-hmm. Bernard, what is your advice for brands who want to succeed in China?
I would say it's the same thing for other countries. First of all, to try to accept the needs. Not to say, okay, I want absolutely to be to sell our collection as we do in France. We have to adapt our collection, and above all, when you are in such a project, of course, we will get very high experience because we cannot promote our brand by ourselves in China. Then I think the way to promote, the way to speak about the brand, the way to make some campaigns, the way to change the collection has to be adapted to the needs. But it's not only in China; it's for all export countries. You have to be adapted to the countries.
Okay. Pierre-François, for brands who are interested to join these shops, French shops,
Prêt-à-porter.com, and Patricia Braffman, she's here, and she's your contact. She's the international manager of the federation, and I'm happy to talk about China, especially in this moment, because you know it's Fashion Week in Paris. We have great shows, we have great trade shows also, and a lot of initiatives are sponsored by our federation, and one of them is the French boutique on Tmall.
Perfect. And we are just in time, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.